Hi-ho, Tudor-minded people. It's Philadelphia Carey for Tudor Time Machine. Today's word of the week is toadstone. When I drink something that disagrees with me, I ask my favorite, bring me a toadstone.
Toadstone? How now, Tudorphiles? What think you? If you're new here, I'm Gage.
I'm Jessica, and this is Tudor Word of the Week with Tudor Time Machine.
Toadstone. This word refers to a mythical stone or gem that was set between the eyes of a toad. And this idea was very common in Tudor England.
And it didn't start in Tudor England. The toadstone is written about in the 1st century by Pliny the Elder.
And they thought these precious stones that were set between the toad's eyes could also be used as an antidote for poison. And they believed that these stones actually existed.
Right, but they didn't cut the toad open and take the stone out of the middle of his eyes. They just found something they thought were these toadstones, but they were actually fossils of other creatures. For centuries, people found these small stones and they thought, oh, this must be the magic stone from between the eyes of a toad. You put the meaning on something that you want to put. Oh, I found a toadstone.
It's the only answer. It must be the magic stone from between the toad's eyes. So the toadstone appears in plays, and there's mention of it in Shakespeare. But here we're going to use an example from Ben Jonson's play, Valpone.
Ben Jonson was a playwright, writing at the same time as Shakespeare. He was an incredibly important playwright. And in fact, he cast William Shakespeare in a play of his. It was called Every Man in His Humor, and the production was done in 1598, and Shakespeare had a small part in it.
Ben Jonson was not an easy guy. He was angry. He was always in and out of prison, and in 1508, he killed Gabriel Spencer in a duel. And the only reason he wasn't hung was that he claimed he was a member of the clergy. And at this time in Tudor England, if you could claim you were a member of the clergy, you could avoid punishment. So he had a lot going on, but he was a good playwright.
He was a very good playwright, and he was very well regarded during the time. And his play, Valpone, or The Fox, was first performed in 1606 at the very famous Globe Theatre.
This play, shockingly, is about a scheme to get rich. And you have to admit, Tudorphiles, that is a plot that has lasted.
Yeah, then is now. Valpone's stratagem to get rich is to pretend to be dying, and he accepts valuable gifts from 3 fortune hunters. They each get his personal promise that they will inherit all of his money when he dies.
So you can imagine the rest. They definitely do not get his money.
In this scene, the greediest of all the fortune hunters yells at everyone else not to be greedy. He says, "Were you enamored on his copper rings, his saffron jewel with the toadstone in it, or his embroidered suit?"
So righteous. But we know what he really wanted was the saffron jewel with the toadstone.
They didn't discover that the toadstone was not actually from the forehead of a toad until the 17th century. And that's another question. How did they discover that? Anyway, it's very interesting how these myths come and go, right?
Perhaps that's made the Tudor word of the week a bit less useful. You can't call for a toadstone if you're feeling under the weather.
But you could call an aspirin a toadstone if you wanted to, right? Bring me my toadstone Tylenol.
Join us next time when Philadelphia Carey surprises us with a new Tudor word of the week.
I'm very surprising. Join us.